Okay, this topic's going to be kind of really twofold, but the title of the video is going to be dual GPU versus single GPU. But the reason I thought about doing it that way is because recently NVIDIA and also AMD had their keynotes with new generation of GPUs and video cards. And of course with NVIDIA we have the new GTX 1080 and 1070, and AMD's new RX480 GPU. Now I'm suspecting AMD is also going to be coming out with a more higher end GPU as well. I'm guessing it's going to be an RX 490 maybe, or some such. I mean, 1080 is a great video card, much more powerful and using less watts, which means it's going to be a cooler card as well. But when AMD released their new RX480, they made some great points. They even compared it with the GTX 1080. And of course, the way they were comparing it, they were comparing RX480 in a dual GPU configuration against the 1080. Obviously, a single 480 by itself is not going to be as much power with the 1080, but by putting two GPUs together and then looking at it from that standpoint, the performance compared to the single card, you're going to actually get slightly more performance and at a cheaper price, because the GTX 180 comes in at $600 and the RX 480 comes in at $200. So you could actually put two of the 480s in there, and that'll be $400, $200 cheaper than the other one. So you're getting slightly more processing performance and at a lower price. But there's also another added bonus, because the GTX 1080, excuse me, they also said in their keynote with AMD that it's going to be even running it at 98% full power, compared with the 480s for AMDs. Each card is going to be actually running a lot lower, probably 50% for each card, which does have quite a bit of benefit, because you're going to have a lot more headroom with the 480 compared to the 1080. Plus, it's going to be a lot cooler. Even some of the reviews I seen for the 1080, it's showing the boost clock when you're running at full power often comes way down, more so in line with the normal clock that's running. So, plus you may also have some throttling due to overheating and things like that with the 1080. So I thought it was actually kind of very interesting. Not saying that one card is better than a dual card or anything like that. Of course, there's going to be some cons with this as well, or negative things. For example, not a lot of software may support dual cards. Probably gonna have to be running in, I'm trying to think, Crossfire or Crossfire X, I can't remember their version, compared with SLI with the GTX. It has, it's not the greatest way of running it. Sometimes there is problems. So, plus the software has to take advantage of dual GPUs as well. But that reminds me very much of the way Apple does their 2013 Mac Pros, because they also use dual graphic cards, and I see a lot of people saying, well, each one's underclocked, and they're old, generations old cards. But if you look in the scheme of things, when it first came out, the dual D700s are actually more powerful than any single card out there. And even 2 years later, when the GTX Titan X came out, the D700s both together were still more powerful than the Titan X, which is really surprising. So while you could put a single card, the most powerful one you can get, even the next generation, there's going to be one more faster. But if you put dual cards in there, they're actually going to last or stay more relevant over a longer period of time. And I think that's the reason why Apple put dual cards in there in the first place. You could put a single card, very powerful. You could even put a Titan X or whatever. But in the next year or two, it's going to be superseded by something else, where the dual cards are going to remain relevant for 3, perhaps even 4 years, maybe. That's a big maybe, obviously. So that's kind of my thought on the dual GPUs versus single GPUs.